What's up, Taiwan? Good morning. I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Thursday marked 1 month into Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Since the start of what Vladimir Putin calls a special operation, Russian forces have launched airstrikes, reduced cities to rubble, and forced millions to flee their country. But Russia is also facing a number of setbacks. In Moscow, one of Putin's top advisors has resigned, and on the ground, Ukrainian forces are pushing back Russian advances to the capital, Kiev. Russia holds territory bordering Belarus, where the invasion was first launched. They've captured a band that includes Chernobyl and stretches to around the second city, Kharkiv, which is still under Ukrainian control. In the east, Russia controls large parts of the Donbas region. Just days before the February 24th invasion, Russian soldiers entered the separatist-held Luhansk and Donetsk regions, and Moscow declared them independent states. Russia also controls a swath of the country's south above Crimea, which it annexed in 2014. The southern held territory includes the port city of Kherson, which the Ukrainian army is trying to reclaim. Some of the most intense fighting so far has been happening in the port city of Mariupol, because if seized by Russia, both southern and eastern regions controlled by the country will be connected. Millions have fled the conflict in Ukraine, with most ending up in neighboring Poland. TaiwanPlus reporter Rick Glauer is at the Polish border in Przemysl, a major hub for people going between Poland and Ukraine. As he reports, uncertainty hangs over the region.
Svetlana Vladimirovna and Natalia Nikolaevna left Kharkiv in eastern Ukraine on the 6th of March. They've now spent 2 weeks fleeing and sheltering from the advancing Russian forces, moving west across Ukraine until they reached the border to Poland, bringing with them the horrors of war.
Бомбить очень сильно. Бомбили, мы просидели, нас приютили люди, мы там прожили.
Мы начали различать уже, как стреляют грады. Грады — это не так страшно, когда начали бомбить.
Да, вот авиация самое страшное.
Это самое страшное, что было. Это очень страшно.
Like many of the more than 2 million who have now fled to Poland, travelling to this large border town was their first step to finding a place to stay. In the last month, this train station has become a major hub for people fleeing the conflict in Ukraine, and an important part of humanitarian efforts to help those affected by the war. But it's not just fleeing refugees. Since Russia invaded, more than 240,000 people have travelled in the opposite direction, from here in Poland into Ukraine. 23-year-old Elena Sergeyevna says goodbye to her mother, who lives in Poland, to return to Ukraine. She's heeding the call of her town mayor, who has asked for residents to help the economy by coming home. Elena's boyfriend has just joined the army, led by President Volodymyr Zelensky, whose determined leadership has galvanized his people.
Ну, я героем себя не чувствую, потому что это самое малое, что я могу дать. Это приехать к себе домой, всех поддерживать, поработать, как-то дать. Ну, это самый минимум, что я могу сделать. Но я должна это сделать. Это мой долг. Я этому рада.
66-year-old Vladimir Ivanovich is in the line of cars waiting to enter Ukraine. He's been travelling between the two countries, delivering resources to support his son, who is a soldier. In the months since the invasion, the Russians have made far fewer inroads into Ukraine territory than anticipated, but more than 2,000 Ukrainians have been killed. Despite the ongoing assault on his native country, Vladimir is optimistic they will defeat the Russians.
Але я не думаю, що москаль довго протримається. Він змучиться, бо в нас українці дуже настирливі, вони як стануть на місці, то їх не здвинеш. От.
As they set up a temporary life in Poland, Svetlana and Natalia are counting the days until they can return home. And Elena, who is now headed back, is hoping for a swift end to the war.
Мы все молимся, мы все очень переживаем. Мы вот уже, когда уже это все закончится, когда мы увидим там свет солнышка мирного, вот, но это все будет. Мы надеемся, что это будет очень-очень скоро.
As traffic across the border continues to flow both ways, a pianist has come from Germany to play, hoping to offer some solace to those displaced by the war. For them, for now, stability in this region is hard to imagine. Rick Loud for TaiwanPlus in Przemysl, Poland.
Halfway around the world, another country is pushing back against an imperial past. Jamaica's Prime Minister has told Britain's Prince William that his country intends to sever ties with London and become an independent republic. This historic statement came during the visit to the Caribbean nation by the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. The royal's arrival was met with demonstrations demanding reparations and an official apology for the centuries of slavery it endured as a colony before emancipation in the 1830s. Hundreds of thousands of enslaved Africans were brought to the island by the British, mainly to work on sugar plantations. Jamaica became independent in the 1960s, but remained a member of the British Commonwealth, continuing to recognize the Queen as its head of state. A first batch of 20,000 frozen custard apples was sent out from Taiwan to Japan on Wednesday. Taiwan's farmers have been seeking new markets for their produce after China announced an import ban on Taiwanese custard apples last September over pest-related concerns. Taiwan says the ban is politically motivated. The fruit going to Japan has been treated with a new freezing process that can keep it fresh for up to 6 months. The texture is said to be similar to ice cream, and producers are hoping Japanese consumers will enjoy the novelty. A new book featuring the works of one of Taiwan's most influential painters has just been released. Chen Chengpo was a pioneer in Western-style painting during the Japanese colonial era and the post-war period, Phil Wang reports.
Under Chen Chengpo's brush, Taiwanese temples and streets come to life. The artist was one of the first in Taiwan to experiment with Western painting styles and push the boundaries of the local art scene. A book collecting his pieces, Chen Chengpo Corpus, was released on Wednesday. It showcases his paintings, which reflect Taiwanese lifestyle during the Japanese colonial era and the post-war period. It also documents Chen's life in detail, including his death during the 228 incident in 1947, a brutal crackdown on anti-government protesters.
我就想讲要用这个资讯来给拍做动漫，来给伪做漫画，甚至用戏剧去呈现伊后边这个思想的代志。
The book gives readers a look into Taiwan's past through the lens of Chen's art.
真的创作的作品啊，成为台湾重要的文化资产，而且它对于这个推动栽培提拔我们台湾的美术界，这贡献也非常非常大。
The publisher hopes that with this book, Chen's influence will be passed on to future generations. Cling Wang and Phil Wang for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Ethan Liu. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with some images of ballet dancers from Ukraine who get to continue their training at Berlin's opera. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
我们真的很久没有表演，
走到了一个必须要停下来的状态。因为我又不会看谱，
就不知道哪来的韵，有些人喜欢。
想想我最擅长的事情好像是玩团。
其实我的歌很多都是在解决我自己遇到的问题。
我通常会发脾气或者是暴怒，是因为不公平。
发现我对舞台是不熟悉的。
诚实的讲说你自己，就会有人听。